I wanted to give a big shout out to one of the best reporters in the game, Prianta Emrith. Big shout out. Lots of love here because we have to go over some comments, baby. We have to go over Kent Hughes. We have to go over Patrik Laine because as I had said in the last video, yeah, Kent Hughes has had a great summer, lots of good things going on for the Canadiens, but I am going to do my best to milk this damn topic into the ground, because that is all we can talk about at this point, right? And none of the videos that we have made, you could say maybe unnecessarily, have not gone over the Patrik Laine comments ever since his trade to the Montreal Canadiens. Now, before we dive into the Laine comments, I wanted to go over and talk about the Kent Hughes comments, because he went out there and had some things said about the Patrik Laine acquisition as well. Firstly, starting everything by talking about how Laine is energized and excited about coming over to the Montreal Canadiens. Now, excited, energized, yeah, hopefully he is, because Montreal Canadiens fans are absolutely not going to let him go if he expresses any ounce of discomfort with this trade. And he hasn't, to be fair. It's been very smooth sailing ever since the trade was made. In fact, it was revealed to us that Patrik Laine actually didn't have the Canadiens on his no trade list. He didn't have to waive anything. He was just available to get traded to Montreal. So Columbus, they did him a solid. They sent him to a team that he was okay to go to. Didn't need to ask him to waive or anything. And Montreal Canadiens fans are extraordinarily happy because of it. GM Kent Hughes says that Columbus GM Don Waddell allowed him, Jeff Gorton, and Marty St. Louis the opportunity to speak to Laine directly over the weekend to have the conversations they felt they needed to have to be comfortable moving forward with the trade. Man, over the weekend? Yeah, okay, I guess the weekend. Because we didn't hear much about Kent Hughes, anybody else going out there and talking to Laine specifically. We had heard reports that they weren't involved, and that was kind of a thing for most of last week. So to see things go to Saturday, Sunday, they're talking to this guy, they're letting him know what's up, and then Monday the trade gets made, that's some business, baby. Love it. GM Kent Hughes also says that in their conversations, Patrik Laine repeatedly stated his desire to win and be a part of what the Go Habs Go are working towards. Or the Canadiens, not Go Habs Go. Laine also then talked about as well later on how he wanted to win the Stanley Cup to Montreal, or he wanted to bring the cup to Montreal. He wanted to win the Stanley Cup with the Canadiens. That is fantastic. That's the quote that I think has been really circulating around there. Look at Patty Laine and the beanie, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go back over to the Kent Hughes comments. GM Kent Hughes says he'll leave who Patrik Laine will play with up to Marty St. Louis and the coaching staff, but Kent Hughes feels like over the course of the entire season we'll see him play with different line mates. Okay, that's fair. Everybody knows it's going to be talking Newhook, but for now we'll just let this be as it is. Kent Hughes also spoke about his conversation with Laine over the weekend. We also spoke to him about Montreal and the pressure that comes with this market. He didn't shy away from it at all. In fact, I think he's looking for this type of market to play in. Maybe that's why he didn't really excel as much as he could have with the Winnipeg Jets nor the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now he's heading over to Montreal. The pressure is going to be up there. Everybody's going to be revering this guy. I honestly feel like kind of a similar fan sentiment towards Laine, like what we had seen out of Ilya Kovalchuk a few years ago. Like, I get it, totally different situations, but do you not feel sort of the resemblance of fan support and love for this move? Anyways, let's go out there and read some more comments. Kent Hughes says he told Patrik Laine his success with the Canadiens will not be defined on how many goals he scores. Brass want to see him come in to help the team in all areas and aid the younger players in their development. Now, we also did see Patrik Laine talk about his goal-scoring potential, and we'll get into that a little bit more as the video goes on. Here is the Patrik Laine interview quotes that Prianta Emrith went out there and tweeted. Of course, the video was broadcasted to everybody live on social media yesterday. The guy was wearing the shirt, he had the beanie on, he was looking good. Patrik Laine says, "I'm super excited to go to Montreal. I think they have a good thing going on over there." He says he wants to help out the younger players and bring the cup to Montreal. These are his goals. Patty Laine, I don't know if you had seen, but you got a 2-year contract remaining on that $8.7 million AAV. So if he wants to win the Stanley Cup, bring it to Montreal. He's got 2 seasons to do it, baby. Let's go. Montreal for the Cup 2025. Ooh, baby, that is a really, really big piece of news. Look at this, Frederick Forsberg, training on elite prospect. Sorry, I got distracted there. But Patrik Laine also goes out there and talks about how he likes the Canadian style of play under head coach Martin St. Louis. He is excited to play for him. He also said that in the past year, he learned how to handle and navigate his way through adversity. He now has a positive attitude and is in a good headspace. Adversity indeed, let alone all the stuff that he had to go through with the NHL's Players Assistance Program, but does anybody remember the crappy podcast comments that were made towards Laine a few months ago? Like, that was a really big deal, and I think for Patrik Laine, the misfortunes just started to pile up and up and up on themselves that really made it unnecessary for this guy. I mean, absolutely terrible stuff was thrown at him throughout the past few months here, so it's good to see that he was able to navigate that properly and find himself in a positive mental headspace. Either way, let's go out there and talk about some of these other comments. Habs Patrik Laine says that not much needed to be said to convince him to come to Montreal. He has experience playing in Canada, oh yeah, for sure, when he was in Winnipeg, and he feels like Montreal is the biggest hockey market, which is what he wants. Is it the biggest hockey market? You could make the argument that it is, honestly. It's top 3 for sure. Top 3. I don't know. Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal? Do you want to toss Edmonton in there? Who really knows? Patrik Laine also says that his phone has blown up since the news of the trade came out, including receiving a few welcome messages from his new Canadiens teammates. That's great to see that the Canadiens players are really accepting this guy with open arms. It seems like Laine already has a new NHL home. He's also been cleared to get back into the ice following shoulder surgery. He says he can still rip the puck like he has always been able to. That's great news. Who knows if that necessarily translates to a whole bunch of goals. We had talked about this in the prior few videos, but if Patrik Laine just gets 30 goals, I mean, he was on pace for 30 the past 3 seasons, or the past 2 seasons if you remove the most previously completed dud season that he had where he was injured and he wasn't really playing much. The past 2 long seasons that he had, he was on pace for 30 goals each. In fact, let's do the math here. 26 divided by 56, multiplied out by 82, that's a 38 goal pace. If Patty Laine gets 35 goals, I think everybody in Montreal is happy about that. So yeah, hopefully he can still rip the puck like he has always been able to. He also then goes out there and says he didn't want to get into the details of why he wanted out of Columbus, but he says he needed a fresh start. That's totally fine. He doesn't need to go out there and talk about that. There are many cliches that he could have used, but to go out there and say straight up, yeah, no, I don't feel comfortable getting into it, that's also a really mature way to go about it as well, so I appreciate that at least. He also says that he needed a change of scenery from Columbus more so as a person than a hockey player. Laine had decided he wanted to get traded before Columbus made their GM and coaching changes. Okay, that's an interesting way to put it. Seems like this has been going on for a while, but of course it's not really our responsibility to pry after all. Finally, though, there are a few extra things here. Patrik Laine spoke about Saku Koivu, and he says, I'm going to try to be my best to be as good as he was in Montreal. Yeah, Koivu was the captain, so if Patrik Laine can someday take that C away from Nick Suzuki, color me shocked. I don't think it's going to happen, but that'd be a pretty interesting surprise. Then you had yourselves the comments here. Patrik Laine spoke about wearing a beanie during his Zoom call. He says he's currently in Florida, but as soon as he heard that he was going to Montreal, he threw on a toque so that he can get used to the cold. And that right there, folks, is where the beanie comes from. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Patrik Laine comments after getting traded for by the Montreal Canadiens. What are your thoughts on Kent Hughes speaking about this as well? And how well do you think Laine is going to be able to perform in his first season with Montreal? I get it, this video wasn't really too creative of me or anything. We literally just went on to Priyanka Emrith's Twitter account and just read some of the tweets that she made, but she's like one of the only ones that actually went out there and posted the quotes in full transcribed sentences, so big shout out over to Priyanka Emrith. Big shout out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section though as to all we had talked about with Laine and Kent Hughes. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99 and bye.